One of the most liberating transformations I've experienced is around responsibility. It's not something that I necessarily really liked the idea of for most of my life. You see, I've always had a very high value on freedom. And I've always kind of considered, or I previously always considered responsibility to be kind of in conflict with freedom. If I'm responsible to something, then I'm not free to do whatever I want. And when I was younger, it was like being responsible to a relationship, being responsible to employees, if I'm having a business. And so I like to keep everything kind of just stay by myself, sole proprietor, be single, things like that. So less responsibility, the more free. That's the way I thought about it before. Now I don't think about it or feel about it that way. But it really came down to getting a deeper understanding of why I felt that responsibility was also a kind of burden. That to be responsible to something, it felt like, well, I have to do that. If being responsible to something means you have to do something, then that's in conflict with another orientation that I have, what I've always had, which is I don't have to do anything. There's nothing I need to do. I don't even need to eat. I choose to eat because if I don't, I die, but I don't have to. And that's a place I come from, that I don't have to do anything. It's a choice. It's a stance for being free all the time. Everything, therefore, because I don't have to do anything, everything is therefore a choice. And so to be responsible, meaning there's stuff I have to do, well, I don't take that on because I don't have to do anything. But there was a conflict really in the understanding about what responsibility is, or what I could choose it to mean for me, let's say. Because let's be fair, there is a common understanding of responsibility. Culturally, commonly, people will use that word and they mean it's something that you have to do, that you don't really have a choice. And it's not a word that I could get into if it means that, but it doesn't have to mean that, because words aren't fixed. They have histories that evolve over time. And so I looked at the history of the word responsibility, and it might not be much of a surprise, but it comes from two words, response, ability, which if you just make sense of that is an ability to respond. And so what if responsibility was responsibility? Well, what if I started looking at responsibilities as my ability to respond? Well, then I would think, are my taxes my responsibility, or are they my ability to respond? Are taxes something that I have to do, or something that I have the ability to respond to, the ability to do, the ability to pay? Well, is eating a responsibility, or is eating an ability that I have to respond to something that I'm asserting that even eating is something that I have the ability to respond to. Even staying alive is not my responsibility. I don't have to stay alive. It's something that I have the ability to respond to. So if all responsibilities are actually responsibilities, then what's the hook here? What's the fear? What's the worry? Well, that's what it is. If I don't pay my taxes, I'm afraid that I'll get in trouble. I'll be in trouble. I'll be wrong. If I don't do these things I'm responsible to do, I'm responsible for, then I'm afraid that that's not okay, that I'll be guilty, that I'll be at fault. So this is where the understanding and the perspective of innocence was really the final nail in the coffin of responsibility feeling like a burden and being an obstacle to freedom. Because I also have this idea that no matter what, on an internal level, on a level of spirit, at the level of consciousness, at the level of who I really am, I'm always innocent. At the level of engaging in the world and the form and the things that I do, if I run somebody over with my car, like if I'm doing it intentionally, especially, then there's a fault there, there's a guilt, and I should be held accountable to it. I don't know. I just looked out at my car. I don't typically think about running people to mind, But that's different than my internal experience, right? I am internally, psychologically am innocent. My spirit is innocent because I can only do what I have the awareness of and what my body is willing to do in that moment. And so yes, I should still be held accountable in the world of form to my actions, But that doesn't mean that I need to carry the burden of guilt on the inside by how I think about my actions and think about the past. And anybody who has a kid knows this. A kid is acting out in a certain way that isn't necessarily appropriate. And while we need to we have to be responsible because they're a kid, we also know that they're innocent, right? If a kid's screaming or throwing things and they're a very young age and they don't know any better or they don't have conscious control over their body, we don't think that they're guilty. We might still say it's not appropriate, and we might move them out of that place or take the thing away from them, but we don't have the you're guilty and you're wrong. There's an innocence that we see and we know in them. And what I'm suggesting is that while we do grow up and become accountable to our actions, we don't have to grow up and lose our innocence. We can actually remain innocent because at some level, we're only able to be and do what we can see. Still accountable, but innocent. And so if I can be both innocent and accountable, then I can also be innocent and responsible, or innocent and responsible. And that's where I come from, that's where I practice coming from, is remembering that I am always innocent. Therefore, if I don't do something that somebody wants of me, I may be accountable to it out in the world of form, like I have to pay my taxes if I don't pay them. I do pay them, but if I didn't, I'd eventually have to, or I'd have to be held accountable to it, and it should be. But I'm innocent. I'm at peace on the inside. I'm not bad or wrong. I'm okay. And so remembering that on the inside I'm free, I'm innocent, it gives me this space to be able to relate to the things that I have the ability to respond to as responsibilities and to not be burdened by them. I am innocent and I am responsible. That's the place that I try to live from every day. To be free to respond to things. And then people can pay me the money that they pay me for our coaching programs, and I can feel responsible to them for the year ahead and serving them and making sure that I show up. And I don't have to feel a burden for that because I am completely innocent if I fail to produce, and I'm also 100% accountable, and I have the ability to respond to that account. And that is an empowering thing. To be in contact with my ability to respond means that I am in contact with my power, and I am in contact with it through choice and from desire. That's a big difference from being burdened by the need of some outside force. You are also innocent, and you are also responsible. You don't have to do anything. And no matter what you do in the outside world, which you may or may not be held account to, you are always innocent on the inside. And you're always able to do something. You're always able to respond. You are innocent and you are responsible. And hey, today is the perfect day for you to create who you are. You are loved and you are powerful. And I am loving you simply for your being here. I will talk to you soon.